you other conductors, you should know we just mentioned Frank Battisti a few times in the other room. The first time Frank Battisti did the Mozart Grand Partita at Ithaca High School, Barry Sachs played the bass part.
Yeah.
You could just...
Yeah. The fun thing about COVID is we've been able to just sort of, I think most people have done this. You play, this is our flex version of the Dvorak Serenade. So, it's fun. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Okay, introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Jesse. I teach K-12 music in a really small school on the border of Kansas and Colorado. Teach the 3-year-olds to the 18-year-olds. And so I'm really happy to be here this is about how many kids I have in my entire middle school. So this is great. This is great.
Glad you're here. Thank you for coming all this way.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. All right, here we go. Which movement are we doing?
We're doing one of the serenade.
Good to know.
Thank you.
Well done. Very well done. Okay, a couple of technical things first. Do you always conduct the stand this low?
Yeah, it tends to happen. Yeah,
Okay. May I make a suggestion?
to bring it up.
You're much taller than I am.
Yeah,
I would bring it up. This stand is sinking.
yeah. I
Can we
think
get a
I
new
pulled
stand
it
for
up, but because it was not this low. I think I pulled it up to my belt.
Yeah, and here's the only reason why. Your stand is so low that turning pages is a gesture unto itself.
Right, and I leaned down.
Yeah, and you know, good, so you know you do it, so you do it anyway. That's great. So, yeah, I mean, you step forward, you lean down, you turn the page, you come back up. Also, I don't know, do you have pain in your neck in here at all?
No.
You don't? See, okay, so I will tell you, I used to conduct with my stand that low, and I still have really bad, neck pain right here. Could have been from a really bad car accident, but that's another story. However, leaning your head down like this will create an enormous amount of tension. Thank you, Peyton. Peyton McCartney, everybody. Thank you so much. Yeah, so this way, turning pages is, and this is not going to be, this is going to feel high, but don't worry about it. It's going to be less obtrusive whenever you do turn a page, okay? Second thing, have you heard gesture equals sound before?
Yeah.
Okay, good. What does that mean to you, besides gesture equals sound?
What I do is what they'll do.
Okay.
Like what I show is what they'll play.
Sure, okay. Is Dvorak a symphonic orchestral composer or a wind band composer?
He was orchestral.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, not a lot of grade 2 band pieces.
No.
So primarily. So when we think of that, what instrument do we primarily think of? At least in my mind.
Strings.
You think strings,
Yeah.
right? And I already told you they're supposed to be string players, but they're saxophones. Doesn't that a cool timbre over there? Isn't that neat? Like having that saxophone. It's really, really neat. You need to conduct this more like string music and less like band music.
Okay.
Meaning the bow needs to stay on the string longer, and you tend to pull off the string a lot. So everything you play is going to be off the string playing instead of on the string playing.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So I would use more more horizontal playing this way,
Okay.
staying on the vertical playing, but stay more horizontal with this music if you can.
Okay.
Okay, can we go again at the beginning? You can stand closer to the music stand too.
Okay.
Yeah, you should be able to reach down, and without moving anything, you should be able to turn a page.
Okay.
if I took a picture of you from the side, I mean, you're like this.
Okay.
You are going to hurt later in life.
Okay.
It's just, you have to stand up. I was talking about this with Andy. Think of your expanded collarbones here. Or you can also think if I took a hard-boiled egg and I put it in between your shoulder blades, you just pinch that just slightly.
Okay.
That way your shoulders stay back and your chest stays expanded and you're tall. When you conduct, you and I are the same height. When you stand here, you're 6'4". Are you 6'4", 6'5"?
Yeah, I'm 6'4".
Yeah, and so, but when you conduct, you and I are eye level.
Okay.
So let's stay tall. Freeze, don't move. Turn and look at me. Yeah, so
Yeah.
just stay tall. That's
Okay.
number one, you have to stay tall. And that's a physical thing, but it's also, it's an ability to move thing. You're gonna become fixed in your conducting if you shrink down in here. Also, your feet, you have lots of fancy
Yeah,
foot moves.
it's
It would, if you could just find what we call a tripod, so you have a point here, here, and back here. Find that tripod, and then, and this is where, where's Delaney? There he is, he's back there. Him and I vary on this a little bit. He moves a lot. When I'm teaching conducting, I like to teach students to stay planted.
okay.
You know, now when you get out and teach, you do whatever you want. You know, and we move, it doesn't mean you don't move around the room. It doesn't mean you don't get off the podium and like get inside the ensemble and hear what's going on in there. I'm not saying that. But if we are in performance mode, we primarily want to try to stay planted. Now this is totally hypocritical of me because like in a performance the other day, I literally like did one of those at the bassoons or something. You know, and so which, you know, I don't know what this means, but it was fun. But you really want to try to stay a little bit more planted. And the other reason is though, is you move your feet, like if I take this foot, and I'm going to try to do what you did, and you turn it like this a little bit, and then I lean this way, I'm like, there's tons of tension in my body to make that happen. If you'll just find that tripod and plant yourself a little bit, and think about weight shift. May I continue this a little bit more before we go back? When you lift up your arms, everybody, your weight has to shift backwards to compensate for your arms being in front of you, right? So if I stand and find the tripod, and I lift my arms in front of me, I feel my toes grab at the ground. Because I'm putting, I don't know how much these things weigh, but they weigh enough to where if I just have to shift my body weight backwards, do you see it move? Like I'll stand over here. I'm gonna find the tripod. I'm gonna lift my arms up. Do you see it move backwards? If I don't do that, I'm putting weight out in front and I'm grabbing with my toes, right? And this is why posture is so important. So we put these out in front of us here, we have to lean back just a little bit to compensate for the weight shift. Okay? Let's go again. Here's the beginning. Stand tall. Good, thanks. Okay, this is a total fundamental thing. When do you do a loop release versus a point release? What's the general rule?
I don't know. I think of a loop release if you're trying to go up and give the prep for the next beat.
It's even more simplified than that, I think. Anything longer than a quarter note, you can loop. Anything shorter than a quarter note, give it as a point.
Okay.
You tend to loop a lot, even if it's like dun taka dum bum.
And it's kind of a hitch.
Yeah, bum ba ba bum ba ba bum bum bum. You don't have to loop it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's another little technical thing to throw in there. Okay, let's start. Can we go at 9, everybody? Here's 9. Find your tripod of your feet. Stay planted. Good, okay. Something else. So I have something I call the 3 R's, and it's receive, resonate, and respond.
Okay.
I feel like you receive sound a lot, like you hear what they are doing. I'm not sure how much you resonate with it, and I know that you don't respond to it because you're already on to the next thing.
Okay.
I want you to do that same phrase again, and I want you to see if you can hear the sound coming at you. And only you know this. Like, I wish I could take the fancy headphones that Jeremy had back there, put them on here, and plug into my brain so I could hear what you hear.
Okay.
Because then I would know the answer to this question. So only you know. But are you accepting sound? Are you resonating it? And then are you responding to it? You know, I'll know you respond by if you smile or look like, oh, that was really good. Like, give something that shows us that you heard the end of something
Okay.
before you move on to the next thing. That's really hard to do. It's really hard, and it's, because he said this earlier, I'm not saying you're a young conductor, but young conductors, people who haven't done this a long time.
You're all young.
Yeah, hear the beginning and the middle, but it's hard to hear the end. Because we have to go to the next thing. That's what we're
Right.
taught to do. We're taught to prepare the next thing. Do the same phrase and see if you can resonate the sound a little bit and maybe respond to what you hear.
Before you go on, and I'm not going to take your time, but it's that, what John's talking about, lingering for a moment, processing before you go to the next thing, that's this moment in time that allows you to respond to their response to you, that allows you to move the sound into conformity with what you want. Now, in reality, we won't do that. We're not that arrogant. They give some, we give some, and we get there. But if you're always on to the next thing, you're like a composer who's capable of cranking out great music, cranks out crappy music, because he's always in a hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Take your time.
String it.
You've got more time than you think to get to the next thing.
9.
Stay tall. Find the tripod. So only you will know the answer to that question. That's just one you have to think about. If I can encourage anybody to do anything more, it's to be more still and to listen and let sound resonate with you more than you trying to always say something non-verbally. That's a hard thing. So we did some physical stuff, but also some mental stuff because that's really, really challenging. Last thing before we're done, I'm done with you anyway, is that we start to mirror a lot.
Okay.
So what is your ability, what do you do to get out of mirroring?
Depends on the piece. Sometimes it's more of like a kind of this, pull it in, and get it not out of the way, but it's still engaged, but not doing the same thing.
Do you remember what I was telling people earlier this morning about the monitoring versus influencing?
Mm-hmm.
See, think about that on your long drive over Kansas, which is a really interesting state right in the middle. It's like driving from here to southeast Missouri. There's just nothing. Like that's a long, you're like, I didn't know the state was this wide all the way to southeast Missouri, But think about how can you monitor or influence with both hands? The other thing you can do is if you just put the hands on a different plane, they instantly don't look like they're mirroring anymore.
Okay.
I mean, there's some easy basic things we can do. We can put this hand here and this hand here, or vice versa. Or we can move this hand sagittally closer to them, bring this hand sagittally back, or vice versa. Right? So they don't have to be on the same plane in the same place.
It's almost like being too disciplined. John was talking earlier about something like a bowl of water. Where do you feel the chord? Where do you feel that sonority? By working different horizontal planes, it allows you to show the texture of the music. When it's heavy, you're heavy. When it's lighter, it's hard to be heavy up here.
Mm-hmm.
Work those different planes.
Yeah, things
You'll
don't
get a different response.
things don't look mirrored if you put them on different, if the hands are never doing the same thing.
Okay.
Even if they're doing this on different planes, it doesn't look like it's mirrored. It's kind of you kind of trick them a little bit. So. All right, okay. Nice job, Jesse. Thank you.
Well, the next person's coming up. I'm gonna. Ever been in a rehearsal and you're sitting in the back watching people conduct? Come on. Sitting in the back watching somebody conduct, and you're back in the hall and you're saying, man, how are they missing that stuff? How are they missing all that stuff? We've all had that experience. Sometimes the worst place in the room to hear is right there. That's why H. Robert Reynolds was the first one to tell me, dude, you got to walk around. He goes, but it's scary. You wade out into the middle of an orchestra or a band when you don't know what's wrong, not when you do. That's scary. You're letting go of control when you're walking around. But you hear everything differently when you're out there. So try and figure out how you're going to have that out-of-body experience, what John calls monitoring. As if you're in the back of the hall watching me conduct, and saying, this dude couldn't hear a jet airplane if it crashed next door. Why? Because that's the worst place to hear it sometimes. Okay? Try and have that monitoring experience that John talks about. Okay? Okay. Well, you should be pretty good because you worked with the great maestro Zastoupil a few minutes ago. So I'm looking forward to this being much better than that mess you laid down earlier. Okay, here we go.
All right.
I was kidding. You can laugh out loud. You grew before our very eyes, all right?
Thank you.
Go for it.
We'll be doing Dvorak first movement.
Hang on just a second. Can I touch you? Okay, here's the one thing I wanted to do when John was working with you. Yep. Okay, here we go. Okay, stop. Cover your ears. Literally, cover your ears. Play what he shows you, not what's on that page. If he gives you that downbeat, I want him to have a red mark up the side of his head. All right? You can uncover your ears. Lunch ate what I did at this place Zastoupil took me to yesterday. I ate like 18 pounds of fried cheese. And I had the Widowmaker and just keeled over. If you had the Widowmaker and keeled over, do you think they'd stop? They'd be just fine. They'd go right to the end and somebody would figure out how, if there are any fermatas, they'd figure it out. All right? You don't have to work that hard. You're not making the sound. They are. Watch this. Here we go. You ready? Okay, now, play exactly what I do. You ready? If they played what you showed them, the health department would shut us down, and not because of COVID. Play him what he shows. Now, I told him something to try and prove on my, I think of John as my little brother. I tried to put a layer on your teaching. I think Andrew needs to steal licks. I think he needs to watch conducting videos until Hades freezes over and steal licks. That's how we learn to play jazz, right? We steal everybody's licks. We steal licks, we steal licks, we transcribe by solos. I almost breathe on those young ladies, and they're so good I'd hate for them to meet their maker. We steal licks, we transcribe solos, and then, like, when I was a kid, my parents, we didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so Mom wouldn't buy fresh squeezed oranges. She'd buy those canisters of frozen gelatinous stuff. Then she'd turn it over a pitcher, and this can-shaped frozen orange blob dropped into the pitcher. Mix it with water, and it turns into orange juice, more or less. Well, really what we're doing with you is, in these sessions, we're and like transcribing solos, you're drinking the concentrate, straight concentrate orange juice. Then over time, you drink some water and swish around, and it turns into orange juice. If you steal licks from conductors and steal moves and steal vocabulary, early on, you'll be imitating, you'll be parroting what other people do. But over time, you'll swish around, and what will come out is not Michael Tilson Thomas, Brad Snow, John Zastoupil, or something. What'll come out will be you, influenced by all of that stuff. Right now, you're engaged in conductor behavior. Down, left, right, up. I want you to steal licks and say, okay, I'm going to channel Pierre Boulez. I'm going to learn the conductors, learn their names, learn their things. And then the next time you step in front, you're going to have more to say. Right now, you're like a painter trying to paint a landscape, and you got one blue, one brown, one green, and one something. You don't have enough colors, all right? Give him what he asks, all right? Go again. And I like John's teaching with the hinge thing. Watch that you're not just always dropping this hammer. Because if they gave you what you showed, I don't know what it'd sound like, but it wouldn't sound like Dvorak. Go. Wait, hang on. I have to stop. No, this air's not hot right there on that plane. You're touching it like you just sat your butt down on something hot. You rebound that fast, they'll eventually start to play what you show. Boom, 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 boom. But if you go, no, stay there for a while. Come down and say, oh, that's hot. I'll come up now. As opposed to, that's hot. Okay, go again. I like what he said about mirroring a minute ago. Did you hear that when he was talking to him?
Yes.
You have to be creative in the way you mirror. Every conductor mirrors. The guys and gals making several $1 million a year mirror. Nothing wrong with that. But you have to have more variety. Okay, hold your hands out. Get ready to start. Don't move. What hand's dominant, ladies and gentlemen? What hand's dominant? Where are you looking? Don't be afraid to be wrong. Well, it's been my experience that when the hands are even, stick wins. The minute that left hand starts to come out even with the stick, it's like we took a navy blazer and covered the stick. It's okay if you want your left hand to be dominant, but it better be saying something. Because when this becomes invisible, that's the other thing I like that Zastoupil said earlier about where to place the hand. If you are here and they're even, and you put your hand away, this hand could be making an obscene gesture, but nobody's going to notice because it's covered with this. When this hand comes out, this hand could be doing anything. This hand just took over. Know if you want to lead with the left, lead with the right. But when this is out here, this is winning, and it better say something. You know what I mean? I like the way he talked about it. It's like my coffee pot. It would make no sense for me to keep my coffee maker. I have tons of paraphernalia. I have every kind of coffee maker known to mankind. All right? Well, it makes no sense for me to keep it in the closet because I use it several times a day. Right? I start every day with 9 shots of espresso. I'm not going to live long, but I'm going to be very, very alert. All right? And not miss much. So why would I keep it in the closet? Your left hand, if you're going to use it, keep it handy. Don't have it. Keep it handy. But know which hand you want them watching. I think right now you probably want them watching the stick. And you want to do the equivalent with your left hand of this. And maybe you do that by something that's the equivalent of that. All right? The other thing that I don't sense is, you're showing me the organization of the music. It's Andrew, right?
Yes.
Andrew, you're showing me the organization of the music. You really are. But I'm not seeing or sensing the score. I want you to create an environment where the players are looking at a part, but they're playing off the score. You have to reveal the score to them. You have to create an environment where they hear the score. Start again. And just play for a while. I'm going to let you go. bass is a searchlight. And you're giving the audience and the ensemble a guided listening experience as to where you want the audience to listen and where you want them to watch. The oboes just laid down some of the most beautiful playing we've seen, but you were looking back at the horns. You know the score. It's almost like you're seeing the score in front of you, like you've got a photographic memory. Engage with the players. You know, in public speaking, sometimes they'll teach you that the way, when you're addressing a room full of people, you don't look at anybody. You look over their heads, you create the illusion that you're looking at everybody. That doesn't work in conducting. You need to make it personal. Can you guys drive home from concerts and know if you've had a good night? I'll be driving home from a concert thinking, man, I didn't connect with Jenny the whole night. She and I didn't connect. I'd like for you to make it personal and connect. Now, I'll tell you something else. I don't know how you talking to your digital recorder, and John, what you sense. First of all, you've processed a lot of what he taught you this morning, and it shows. I mean, or earlier today, and it shows, and that's good. I sense just a little bit that I sense that you're leading now, not following. I mean, you know what I mean? He's leading the ensemble. That's one of the most important things you could do, right? But I haven't seen you respond to them yet. I haven't seen you connect with their eyes. You'll be looking around when something. Maybe it's just that I have different priorities as to where I would want to shine my searchlight. All right? I want you to think about it. Your job is to become a thief. You are going to steal moves from every conductor that you can find on YouTube, living and dead. Okay? One is Pierre Boulez. All right? Start sitting down, and the next person start coming out. Pierre Boulez. Pierre Boulez never makes a cue like this. Whoever's next, come on up. Never makes a cue like that, like I do. Or John in that picture with the bird sitting on his parrot sitting next to me. Pierre Boulez just conducts time, and he shoots somebody a glance with his eyes, and he says, the next one's yours. This one's yours, right? Pierre Boulez. I want you to watch Pierre Boulez. I want you to watch Michael Tilson Thomas, who makes it very personal. Google Michael Tilson Thomas, American in Paris, and watch it. That's your assignment. Okay.
Greetings, fellow musicians. My name is Eric Schrantz. I graduated here from MSU about 7-8 years ago, something like that. I now teach in a small town called Morrisville, just north of town. I still live here in Springfield. Looking forward to working with you guys. I would like to do the second movement of the Dvorak, please. I'll go ahead and cut that because I missed that cue there. Also, I would like to start it just a little bit faster, which is my mistake. That's permissible.
Okay, so a couple things. First of all, you're being very polite to them, but you're saying the word I, so it doesn't
Yes.
come off as polite.
Okay.
You're saying, I would like this, I would like this, I would like this. And they just, I'm telling you, if it was one of them, I literally would yell, no one cares what you want.
Yep.
So just be careful about that. And you just have to supplement that word, and then it's much different.
Okay.
You know, that's number one. Number two, I want you to ask yourself the question, and this anybody can ask this at any point in time, how can you contribute without getting in the way? Because the reason that didn't work is because you weren't contributing enough, and it was just kind of getting in the way. So how do you contribute to this music without getting in the way? That's something else we need to ask ourselves. Okay, let's go to the beginning again.
Okay.
Which is a heady question. It's not And I'll give you some
Right.
specific stuff too, but I
Yeah.
want to give you something like philosophical to think about. Okay, so you went, feel good about this, here we go. Arms are in position, boom. See if you can bring your arms up in the character of the music and then breathe life into the second movement. Like, breathe in the character of the piece as it begins.
Okay.
So like, let's say, can we start the second movement? Watch this. Yeah, so that total wrong character, right? Again. You have to, the music is already in motion. You're just setting it in real motion, but it's already going, and you have to feel it's already going by lifting your arms up in the character of the piece and then inhaling the character of the music. Okay, try again. Eric, what is the purpose of using this accoutrement? I love that word, by the
yeah,
way. I use that word at least 15 times a day, accoutrement.
To help define the ictus? is how
Sure. Okay, how else? Why else would you use it?
Um,
I can give a pretty defined ictus just with my hands.
yes.
Okay, so why else would you use this?
To accentuate your expressions
From where?
from
Does this-
the wrist.
Can
from
this
the core.
enlarge my smile?
No.
No, okay, so next one.
Okay. I don't want to say something stupid. I don't
No, dude, there is nothing, you can't say anything that is
Yeah.
stupid. Everything is fair game.
know.
Leave the stupid comments up to me. And maybe Jack.
I think of it. I think of it as object manipulation. Like if this is the music, this is how I'm trying to manipulate the music.
Okay.
Which maybe manipulate's the wrong word.
Okay.
But that's sort of where my concept's at.
Well, so here's some things to add into what you're talking about. Whatever happens out here, we have to get all the energy from in here all the way out here. You know, so when we learn a piece, it starts on the page, goes to our mind, goes to our heart, goes out through the limbs and all the way to the tip of the baton. And then everything we do is at the tip, okay? Right now, because of the way you hold the baton, that stops right here.
Gotcha.
And we get nothing out to the tip because of the grip.
Okay.
So I'm gonna suggest that you hold the baton in more of what we would call a default grip, where this is flat all the way across. That way the wrist hinge can work appropriately. This way, remember this is not a hinge like we joked about earlier.
Right.
Move this from here. So when you lift this, you're gonna pull from the wrist, because this is legato music, so the tip is gonna follow. If this was the fourth movement, the tip would lead, because it's
Right.
dance music.
Cool.
Dee, and this is our basic gesture here. We never want to turn the wrist over this way. There was an old trick that I used to see this a lot. We put like a quarter or something on the back of the hand to keep this flat and see if you can conduct a whole movement without the quarter falling off,
Okay.
right? But you want to keep this as flat as you can this way.
Okay.
Try not to turn over there,
Okay.
okay? And, I mean, you're a tall guy, and there's nothing wrong with being tall. You know, like how many of you know Steve Davis up at UMKC? Dude's huge. I found an old picture of him and I from 2006 when we were at Michigan at the same time. And he was a little shorter, and I called him, I was like, Steve, did you grow in like the last couple of years? I was like, because I didn't, like, we're closer in height back then. You know, he doesn't use a podium. You know, he doesn't need one. But he also doesn't try to conduct small. He's a big guy. He's like the wingspan of an albatross. I mean, it's just, it's huge. But he doesn't change what he does, right? So I don't want you to try to conduct small because you have large limbs. Don't do that.
Okay.
Stay out here. Soft is conducting small. Soft is not conducting close to our body. This is restricted. This doesn't allow the oboes to resonate sound. So we always want to stay out here. That's a really important concept, everybody. Soft conducting is still out in front of our body. It's not close to our body.
Okay.
Okay? So flat wrist here, stay out in front. Okay,
Okay.
let's try. Here we go. Try again. Try again.
Okay.
Yeah, breathe in the character of the music.
Right.
Thank you. Does Kendall's music look zoom. Can you play that line with me? Where do you do that? Yeah, start right on it. Start right, you and me. Here we go. Does this look like what she's doing?
It doesn't.
No, it doesn't, right? It looks, go again. It looks like this. It's flicky,
Yeah.
right? That's what she's doing. So you can move in between styles there.
Okay.
Just check in with her. I mean, she's really good, by the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Both of them are great.
Mhm.
Like, so just check and be like, oh yeah, that's staccato. And then you, what we were talking about earlier, you receive that sound, you resonate with it. You're like,
Okay.
wunderbar. Next thing.
I
You
guess
know,
I-
then you go somewhere else.
I was thinking of waiting until like the restatement of the main theme to like bring out the inner parts and staying with like the melody.
Well, we talked
Right.
about this earlier. You have to get your ears going around the group faster. Like,
Constantly,
you just have to constantly like open a new door and see what they're doing in different spots to be able to hear everything that's happening.
Okay.
What I'm getting at is this, it's a concept called, we mentioned this yesterday in our class, but chicken vision versus eagle vision. And if there was a dry erase board up here, I would draw like a farm scene, you know, and make this really elaborate and cheesy. But you draw like a little chicken at the bottom next to the grass, like poking at the ground. You know, have you ever seen the movie Moana?
Yes.
Okay, hey, hey.
Yeah, right.
Right? Like poking at rocks, because he like confuses rocks. All you parents, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, seriously.
Right.
It's all we listen to in the car is Into the Unknown in Moana. So poking at the ground. But then you have the eagle, right, that flies way up high that can see the whole scene happening. But when the eagle needs to, it can zero in on the tiniest, tiniest little thing at the bottom of the portrait. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
You spend your time more down here in the grass level, going along down here, than you are up here. That's what I mean by checking in. If you're in eagle vision, you can check in and be like, whoomp, and zoom in on something immediately. If you're in chicken vision, you look up and all you see is like, you know, farm animals, and then you're like back down again. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so see if you can be more broad scope. That's why when you say, well, I'm going to do that the next time or the next time, I wouldn't worry so much about it because that's too programmed for me.
Okay.
You know, you want to be able to do it all at the same time. Let's try again. Here's the beginning.
Yeah.
So stay out in front. Keep your fingers on the baton. Good beginning. Good. Freeze. So this is a habit. You bring this all the way back here. This is like snarky clarinet playing where they can just start from nothing and all of a sudden the reed just starts vibrating and sound comes out.
Okay.
It's really cool in some moments, you know, but nobody else can do it. Nobody else, just them. But when you do it way back here, this is snarky conducting. You're like, ooh, what am I doing over here? You know, keep it out in front of you. Just
Okay.
conduct small.
Okay.
Your beginning was great, by the way.
Okay, thank you.
Really nice.
Appreciate it.
Fingers on the stick. Stay out in front. Oh, okay, good. We just discovered something else. So as soon as you tried to do staccato with her, your whole body was like bouncing this way. It was like the whole baton was doing the, you know, conductor vibrato.
Right.
Just move from the wrist. Think about touching a hot stove, right?
Right.
The energy is away from the beat, not to the beat when we want to do something that's staccato. So staccato gestures don't require this hinge or this hinge, just that one. And you're pulling away from the plane as quickly as you can. So you make eye contact with Kendall and you pull away from that plane as fast as you possibly can.
Okay.
Okay? That's a lot of that is getting much better. This habit of pulling back is something you're just going to get rid of.
Right.
Well, you can practice that. Find a door,
Yes.
right, or a wall, and see if you can conduct the movement by staying on the wall. And then you'll notice if the baton pulls back, you're doing that. You're pulling back this way. The other thing, too, is when you move out away from you, you have to move sagittally towards them to stay on the vertical plane. Especially when you move to the left, I've got to move sagittally away from my body, right?
Right.
So we got the horizontal plane, the vertical plane, and then the sagittal plane that goes this way. Pop quiz, everybody. When can you use the sagittal plane? And if you know the answer, don't answer.
Always?
Wrong.
Okay.
You can only use the sagittal plane in combination with the horizontal or the vertical. It doesn't work if you move straight sagittally. That doesn't work. It has to be in combination with one of the other ones. Does that make sense? So if you just move sagittally this way, you're not effectively using the sagittal plane. And like our TAs, we kind of joke about this, but it's like an unwritten rule. The first couple of months of their degree, they can't do anything sagittally. And sometimes it drives them crazy. They're like, no, but I want to do this. You can't. Because you have to master the horizontal plane and the vertical plane before you can add in the sagittal. Because that's a special one. But if you can't do the other ones, you can't eliminate the sagittal. Okay, let's go again. Here's the beginning. breathe in the character of the music. Remember, it's already moving. You're just putting it in motion. Okay, let's get a better start.
Okay.
Better start, better start.
And may I make a quick suggestion?
Sure.
Can you, if you want your hands to be our focus, can you be visually quieter everything else?
With
Your head
this,
kind of goes.
okay.
Now, I move way too much. I'm not telling you you're moving too much. I'm just telling you, if you want us to focus on your hands, you want us, that to be the heat source, you're gonna have to be visually quieter every place else.
Can I say one more thing? Sorry.
Of course.
Chris Keltz, who's our orchestra conductor here at Missouri State, has a great quote about conducting. I want to make sure I say it right. I hope he's watching right now. There's no one right way to conduct, but there's a lot of wrong ways. So like everything we're telling everybody, it's not that you're like, okay, don't do that or don't do this or don't do that. It's not that. It's that this is another right way to do it. Not to saying you won't move about the ensemble at some point, but you do want to be able to have this in the repertoire of what you do already non-verbally. Okay, all right, good. Let's,
Can I ask a question while you're walking by?
hold on, I want to let him go one more time before we're done.
Where does the movement come from?
The
Where do your plan gestures come from? Where do they come from?
my I guess I just thought of them coming from how I personally react to the music when I listen to it, like if I'm just driving.
Come from the music.
Yes.
If we have planned gestures and we superimpose them on the music, it's like taking Cinderella's slipper and shoving it on feet that they don't fit.
Mhm.
You're gonna have to make this personal. You're gonna have to decide how this music looks, because you will move in a way that you feel the music looks, and it expresses the content of the piece, rather than practice these things. When John tells you to practice these things, that you're learning vocabulary, but you won't use that vocabulary on every piece. Okay? Please.
Yeah, great. All right, one last time, then we're going to have lunch.
Okay, absolutely.
Fingers around the stick. Stay on the vertical plane. No double hitch, though. Yeah, good. Okay, good. I know we want to go to lunch.
A doubled hinge.
Yeah, a double. This is a
Okay.
double hitch. Do
Dang
dick,
it.
do dick. We don't want to do that, right? No double hitch stuff in
I
there.
was
Not-
trying to think of the
yeah,
pick.
we never want to do double hitch. So do flicks with me. That's there. You go. You can do it. Perfect. That's it.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
it. Just do that.
Okay.
Yeah, add that in. Careful when you do anything with your left hand that it's in time,
Right,
and we don't
okay.
disrupt time as we're
Yeah.
got Keep this stuff
I
in
thought
time.
I'll try
Yeah.
phrase shape. but
No, it's
I
all
was-
good. All right. Hey, thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
Yeah,
All right, we're gonna go to lunch, and then we'll be back. It'll be about. We're supposed to start again at 1 o'clock, so it might be about 1:05 by the time we get there. Okay. Thank you, players.